And somebody's already typing saying, oh, it's a black pastor. Okay, hold your fire. Okay, let's hear from the white pastor's perspectives over this. Okay, let's put races aside and let's watch from the white pastor's perspective.
I didn't know that much about Charlie Kirk before, and so I did begin to get into what he taught. And I just have to tell you that everything I read opposed my understanding of Jesus' teaching. And I want to say that, my understanding of Jesus' teaching. I'm not saying we can't have a discussion about that. I would encourage that. But the way I'm understanding what Jesus taught and what Charlie Kirk was teaching seemed to be in juxtaposition. Here's just some examples. He said this: black women do not have the processing power to be taken seriously. You have to steal a white person's slot. He said, I can't stand the word empathy. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term, and it does a lot of damage. He said, we made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act of the 1960s. Martin Luther King was awful. He's not a good person. He said, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. He said, LGBTQ is a social contagion. I'm 180 degrees opposed to every one of those statements. And I think Jesus would be too, but I'm not equating my consciousness by any means with that of Jesus. But just my understanding of Jesus' teaching, where the kingdom and the reign of God is about including everyone, not judging everyone, reaching out to the most vulnerable, not judging them, not putting them down, right? Not diminishing the image of God by treating other human beings as objects. I'm sorry. And you see, this is not confined nor originating with Charlie Kirk. And God bless his family and friends and all those who are mourning him. But this, his words, in some ways, may end up being elevated more because of the recent event. And even his followers are saying that.
I had to walk out of church today over comments about Charlie Kirk. I'm on the verge of tears sitting in this parking lot because I'm having such a complex with my faith, because I genuinely don't understand how Christians are pushing this man as though hate didn't come out of his mouth and heart on a consistent basis. And I'm genuinely sitting here like, if this is the God that we serve, if this is the reflection of the God we serve, do I want to be a part of it? I'm truly having a conflict with my faith because the leaders that we're supposed to be following are guiding us in this way to feel empathy and sympathy, and like that this person was this great Christian, and that the message that his wife gave was, it started off with like praising God. And I'm like, did we miss the chapter of hate that he endorsed, encouraged, and pushed? I don't know where to go from here. To spew hate and hide yourself behind a Bible, to me, is not something I want to be a part of, and it's not the faith I want to be a part of. So what do? I got up out of church and walked out. And I'm at a battle within myself sitting here. It's like, to what do? I don't want him to be a reflection of what I believe. And what do you do when your leaders and your pastor is saying that is the reflection? To me, I feel like I'm smart. I feel like I've worked hard to get where I get, and to push a man who thought that I didn't have the thinking capacity to get to where I am, that I stole a white person's spot. Like, to think that that's the okay thought, that me as a black person can't function in this world and be just as great as the next, that I don't deserve where I am. Is that what God thinks of me? Is that what this faith thinks of me? I don't know.
We just had the first Sunday morning in America after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and boy, are the fault lines of Christian nationalism in this country showing themselves. White Christian nationalism is showing itself. I have seen videos from people on here who had no idea that their churches were as racist, as virulently racist as they truly were, until this Sunday when people got up and started just praising Charlie Kirk. Churches in my own community that completely were flying under the radar before are feeling emboldened to come out of the woodwork and just start saying things. Pastor Howard John Wesley from Alfred Street Baptist Church, a black church in Alexandria, Virginia, put into words what I was feeling in a way that I could not articulate it. When talking about the death of Charlie Kirk, he said that he was overwhelmed by the outpouring of racism in this country in the wake of the assassination. He condemned the assassination. He said, "I don't want anyone to die for what they believe in, even if it is a very, very hateful rhetoric. He did not deserve to die." What he said that will keep sticking with me is that the way someone died does not redeem how they lived. Think about that for a second. The way someone died does not redeem how they lived. Charlie Kirk died in one of the most tragic, awful, horrendous episodes of violence, but just because he died like that does not change the fact that he spent his life sowing division and hatred and racism and misogyny and queerphobia. Thank you, Pastor, for bringing this powerful message to a nation in crisis. We are in the grip of a crisis of white Christian nationalism in this nation, and we need to listen to voices from the prophetic black tradition, like Pastor Howard John Wesley brought to us today. Thank you so much, Pastor. Keep doing what you're doing.
We had to hear from the Christian perspectives on this, especially on the side where so many people are condemning this guy for what he stood for and his untimely death. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm just someone who's coming to learn about this guy, and from everything that I've seen online so far, it's clear that this guy wasn't exactly a figure who brought people together. Yes, he had his own takes and his own supporters, but a lot of what he stood for didn't sit well with the majority of people, from Christians to non-believers, from everyday people to politicians. The reactions to his death has been so loud and divided, and I've shared some clips of whatever has been happening recently, and this is the first time that I'm sharing the side where some pastors and Christians think about his untimely death. Some are publicly condemning him and his messages. This is the side where the majority seem to believe he went too far. Listen closely what's being said, and go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll come back at the end of this video to share my own 2 cents. Let's watch this.
Christian minister here. Charlie Kirk is not a martyr for Christ, despite the claims on social media this week from the right. While we condemn his murder and the gun violence that led to it, we must also reject MAGA's efforts to portray him something he was not. Kirk preached hatred and division as a white Christian nationalist, which contradicts Jesus' teachings. He preached anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, racism, misogyny, and homophobia. Jesus said that the greatest commandment was to love. Kirk preached that empathy was weakness and that gun deaths are the cost of freedom. His death is tragic, and I'm thankful that the shooter has been apprehended. But the media should stop portraying him as a man of peace just following Jesus, when he was anything but. And yes, it dishonors the United States to award a white Christian nationalist the Presidential Medal of Freedom, as Donald Trump has promised. White Christian nationalism is a false gospel rooted in white supremacy. This week's violence was horrific and has been rightfully condemned. But that violence should not be used today to normalize, even celebrate, the hatred that white Christian nationalism embodies. All of us need to commit ourselves to nonviolence. Anything else is incompatible with democracy. May God bless our country, may God bless all of you, and may God bless the world. Peace be with you.
I've been seeing a lot of conservatives say that Charlie Kirk was a Christian man, a man of Christian direction. And people that don't like Charlie Kirk will then respond and say, no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. And what I have to say to them is, why wasn't he? Why isn't Charlie Kirk what Christianity looks like? What's your evidence? You're saying it's because his words inspired and condoned violence? Have you forgotten that the Abrahamic God of the Judeo-Christian Bible was an Iron Age god of war that was murderously intolerant of criticism? If your brother or your father or your mother entices you and says, let's serve other gods, you shall not listen to them. You shall not yield to them. You shall not pity them. You shall not spare them. You shall kill them. Your hand should be first against them to put them to death. Look at you typing on your little phone. I don't condone violence. Yes, you do. You just don't like to see it. Is Charlie Kirk really not a Christian, or do you just not like what Christianity looks like when it's up close? Is Charlie Kirk really not a Christian, or have you just wrapped yourself in a blanket of fairy tales about what Christianity is? And despite the fact that hundreds and thousands of people have violently and viciously died at the mantle of these words, by the time they made it to your doorstep in Sunday school, you were told God didn't really mean these words of violence. Yeah. Neither did Charlie Kirk. They were both just joking. Why isn't Charlie Kirk a Christian? Because he's sexist? What did the Lord your God say about women being docile? Shh, quiet. Sexual objects to the men that own them. You're saying Charlie Kirk isn't a Christian because he was racist? When your Christian God didn't even condemn racial slavery? In fact, he actually did the opposite. He gave us a playbook on how to do slavery. Slaves, be obedient to your masters. Let all who are under the yoke of slavery regard their masters as worthy of honor. As for your male and female slaves that you may have, you may own them as property. You may bequeath them to your sons, but over the brethren of the people of Israel, you may not rule. But Joshua, Jesus came and did away with all of this. Did he? Or did he say, until heaven and earth pass away, not an iota will pass from the law until all is accomplished? Is Charlie Kirk really unchristian, or is he just Christianity unveiled, ugly, bitter to the tongue when tasted honestly, but true to its design? And when they say Charlie Kirk is a Christian, are you uncomfortable because they're lying? Or are you uncomfortable because they're telling the truth?
So after watching and listening to all these pastors and Christians who have refused to show empathy towards Charlie, there's something that I can't ignore over this, all of this. There are a few common things Charlie said that keep coming up in almost every video, almost every sermon and every reaction. And honestly, once you hear them, you start to understand why so many people, especially within the Christian community, are finding it hard to offer sympathy. You know, it was supposed to start from the community side. I mean, from the Christian community side, the empathy offering. Okay, so for starters, Charlie openly said he couldn't stand the word empathy because in his mind, it was nothing more than a made-up new age concept, okay? Think about that for a minute before you come for me. A man who publicly rejected the very idea of empathy, the one thing that we are all called to have for one another. And then there were the statements he made about black women, not just one offhand comment, but repeated claims that black women don't have the processing power to be taken seriously. Yes, he said that. And to that, his view that passing the civil rights movement was a mistake. Are you seeing what I'm saying here? You see, as a person, you can say a million nice things. You can say nice things a million times. You can sprinkle in uplifting quotes. You can share motivational words. You can even advocate for what you believe in, you know. But the moment you start saying things, even if it's just two sentences, that belittle. I mean, even if it's just two sentences, that belittle other people or their progress, that's it. You've lost it. You've crossed the line. And that's just what I think about it. Anyway, whatever I've come across, the moment he started belittling people, yeah, he had his points. Most of the things, some things he was saying, I can say most of the things he was right, okay? He was right. But the majority of what he was saying, it had so much impact, you know? We have, I don't want to mention these things on this app. Anyway, but you get my point. Yeah. That's something you really can't argue with, okay? Words hurt, guys. They stick. They create wounds that no amount of good can erase, because the truth is people always remember how you made them feel more than anything else. Trust me. And let's be real here. Imagine if Charlie had flipped the script. Imagine if he had said all those same thing about palm color folks instead of black people. Would his supporters still feel the same way they feel about him right now? That's the question. Okay, think about it. If you guys started the Black Lives Matter movement, anything that black people have started, him calling white people, they are not smart enough to process whatever he was saying. Imagine if it was, let's flip the tables. Do you think you guys would be feeling the same way you are feeling about him now? I'm just asking. It's a question, okay? Yeah, and by the way, this video is just for entertainment purposes only. Don't take anything seriously or serious or personal, okay? Yeah. Those same white pastors who are now rushing to defend his legacy, it's up to how they feel about it. Yeah, I'm not going to side with anybody, but if he was saying the things he was saying about black folks, would they be talking about him the way they're talking about him, nice things, siding with him? Or would the outrage be 10 times louder? Because I believe the majority of people in the US is white people. Well, that's why I say that's why I use the word louder. The condemnation, the immediate, the empathy completely non-existent. It's just a question. It's a question worth asking because it exposes a deeper truth about how society, and yes, even the church, often applies empathy selectively. It reminds me of something Pastor Howard said, John Wesley from Alexandria in Virginia. This is previous, I think it was yesterday, yeah. A quote that has been on my mind, just like the white guy in the video, since I heard it. How you die does not redeem how you lived. That right there, guys, that is the heart of this entire conversation. Death does not erase the damage caused by someone's wounds or actions. Death doesn't suddenly rewrite history or cleanse a reputation. We can mourn the tragedy of a life lost because loss is always sad, We can pray for the family because compassion should never be completely off the table, even though the husband didn't believe in that. But we cannot pretend that the life of this man lived was not filled with some kind of division. That is according to what I've found online. Like the majority of people, I have to go with that, okay? Yeah, okay? So before anyone misinterprets what I'm saying, this is not about celebrating death, okay? This is not about wishing harm on anyone. This is about accountability and the legacy, the words left behind. This man, Mr. KIRK, built his brand on controversy. He thrived on pushing boundaries, on poking at wounds, on saying the unsayable to rile people up. And when you live like that, when you proudly wear division like a badge of honor, you can't be surprised when people don't rush to defend you after you're gone. Actions have consequences. Words have consequences. Okay? Yeah, that is not hate, it's reality. And to my fellow Christians watching, this is where the tension really lies. We're taught to love our neighbors, to forgive those who wrong us, to show grace even when it's undeserved. But we're also called to stand for truth, to call out injustice, and to protect the vulnerable. Those pastors who refuse to show empathy weren't doing it because they hate Charlie Kirk. They were doing it because they recognize that love without accountability isn't love at all. It's enablement, and sometimes refusing to sugarcoat the truth is the most loving thing you can do. Yeah, so where do we go from here? Maybe the lesson is in all of this. What do you think? Where is the lesson in this? Yeah, you can have all the fame, all the followers, all the platforms in the world, but your words consistently tear down people. Okay, tear people down. If your truth consistently denies the dignity of others, then that's the legacy that will outlive you. And no tragic ending, no sudden passing can redeem that. At the end of the day, it's not about agreeing with every pastor or every critic. It's about asking ourselves, what are we building with our own words? Okay, our own actions, our own lives. Are we uniting or dividing? Are we healing or harming? Because death is inevitable, but the mark we leave behind, that's the part we control. Go ahead, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below, because I know this is a heavy one. Let's have a real conversation about empathy, accountability, and the power of words. And as always, I'll definitely see you in my next video, guys. Please stay peaceful. Yeah, and YouTube, this video is for entertainment purposes only. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. And if it's your first time to be on this channel, please go ahead, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that every time I upload such videos, you'll be notified. Thank you.